Good evening, happy Monday, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome in to the weekly roundup here at the Cross Platform Baseball League. My name is Weaver for Prez, and I am joined by a co-caster and my opponent from last night, of course, in the match of the week, Dwayne. How you doing tonight, Dwayne?
Doing fantastic, Weaver. Always good to be back with you in the booth for another weekly roundup to go over all the action from weeks 4 and 5 here in the XBL Season X, from AA playoffs, AAA, and XBL games, and highlights galore. There's a ton to go over.
Yeah, we did not recap week 4 a week ago to observe both the Home Run Derby and the All-Star game in the MLB. So we are here at the end of week 5, the beginning of week 6, to go over the last 2 weeks. We will have power rankings for you for the AAA and the XBL. We'll take a look at that AA playoff bracket that is all set now after round robin play. We have those semifinal matchups set. And then we will go over the best plays and the worst plays of the last 2 weeks. So without further ado, let's jump right in to those power rankings, starting with the AAA. And down here at the bottom, it is the Plum Island Piranhas Rise and Fall at 17 and Job AJ at 16.
Yeah, tough go for these two players so far in the AAA season, but a big pair of wins for the Piranhas against Job this week. You can see a ton of games packed in by Job to reach the minimum. He did a great job getting close to it, I believe, but just not able to pick up a ton of wins. The offense, as you can see for both teams, not really there, but they've been holding their own on the pitching side.
That'll move us on up this list into 15, 14, and 13, where there are no changes. Holding Pat are Goldfinger, Tam Danitz, and this is Eduardo.
Yeah, these three players just kind of staying where they are, like you said. Tam Danitz had some pretty big games, a few more wins to add to his totals, but staying right at 14, pretty appropriate with his current standing going into the playoffs. Just needs to pick up that offensive production a bit, I think. Eduardo has dipped a little bit in form towards the middle of this season. I think you can look to him to jump back a little bit harder. And Goldfinger has shown that he is a strong player, just splitting with Moon and Rainey in week 5. So that is an impressive split for a player towards the bottom portion of the AAA. We'll see how he does going forward.
And we will see some automatic increases as we go up on this list, of course. An unfortunate exit for a couple of different AAA players, but we will get on into 12, 11, and 10 here on the AAA rankings at the start of week 6. And that is holding Pat there for Blue Panther and Tezzy at 12 and 11, and a couple spots down after a bit of a rough 0-6 week for Phil and the Pokey OGs.
Yeah, tough week for Phil. A little bit of the offensive output has dried up for him. I think down the stretch, if he's able to stay sharp, he'll be able to pick up more wins and improve that ranking, but he's going to be dangerous no matter where his seed falls as we reach the final 2 weeks of this season 10. Tezzy had a great showing on Match of the Week versus the Hudson Softies. Unfortunate to end up dropping the second game, but he's been an impressive player all season. You see that win percentage versus players above 500 is at 350, so not bad. He's done a pretty good job against players in that top half, and that shows in his record that nears 500. And we've seen more action out of the Foxes and Blue Panther, a little bit more offensive output. You see a 303 batting average, which is in the higher tier of that AAA, especially on 83 ego. So impressive from Blue Panther. He's got the #1 strength of schedule as things stand. So we will see what happens with the rest of his games, as he'll have a little bit of a weaker schedule going forward.
Yeah, the batting average bodes well going forward into the end of the season here, and of course into the playoffs. And we'll get on into the top 9 past Phil. At number 9, moving down a spot is Ricks. Also moving down up a spot for both of them. Up for Ricks, up for Zlatanimal, and holding Pat at 6 in a tie. We'll see who the tie is with. Is Wolfie Lion.
Yeah, Wolfie in that tie there, so we'll see who he shares it with. Wolfie's had a really good season so far. He packed in a ton of games on Saturday and Sunday this week. Picked up his fair share of wins, but split with Job AJ, which is tough. Split with Ox, who has had a really good season. So Wolfie's going to be dangerous no matter where he falls again in that playoff bracket, but he's looking to aim towards that top half, maybe even a top 4, depending on how the rest of his season goes. He stands at 15 and 9 right now. It looks pretty good. And you see the Rhinos and Hippies, Ricks and Zlatanimal moving up. Zlatanimal, a quiet week. Both of these players, I think, benefiting from the dropout of BBLC.
Yeah, and we'll see the fallout of a different dropout here as we get on into the top echelon of the AAA, where we have the tie with the Wolfie Lions there at 6. That is McDonut, who sits at a good positive record there, and then of course M Bennings holds pat, and then Rainey they're tied for 3rd.
Yeah, big week from the delivery boys. You see 6-0 in week 5, coming back from below 500, showing where that offensive output is really going to be dangerous going forward. You can see that batting average and those runs scored per 9 very, very high. He's just got to clean things up on the pitching end, and I think we'll see some even more improvement out of the delivery boys. And Bennings has been an interesting player to watch this season. Plays a lot of those games quietly, puts out good offensive numbers, good pitching numbers. You can see consistency there in both sides, so it'll be interesting to see how the dog pound does in the playoffs in that rookie season for them. And Rainey's looking good, tied for number 3. He's had a great season in the AAA. You can see already through 30 games. He's at 20-10. Pretty decent strength of schedule, so he's only got a few left to finish. We'll see how he does with those.
That brings us to the top tier here in the AAA, which is the Holograms, tied at 3 with Rainey there. I think currently sitting in the 4 seed, if I'm not mistaken. And then Wishbone and the Yucca Valley Yellowfins, that's Phillies Rock. These guys just tearing the cover off the ball this season.
Yeah, the offensive numbers for both Wishbone and Phillies Rock are insane. This is a very clear long ball race we're going to be having between these two at the very least going down the line, and it'll be really interesting to see who wins it. And Ox is doing his own part, like you see, tied with Rainey at number 3. I think he did do pretty well against the Moons, if not sweat them, but I don't want to be mistaken. But he's done a really, really good job against his competition here at the top portion. And you can see his win percentage versus players above 500 is at 583. So that'll bode well for him going into the tournament.
Yeah, and if there's a big, exciting story to watch for this top part of the AAA here in these final weeks, that long ballo race between Phillies Rock and Wishbone is going to be really close, I think. So definitely keep your eye on that. We'll, of course, have that awards show probably the Monday or Tuesday after week 7. So look forward to that. It's going to be fun. And we'll get on into the XBL rankings here at the start of week 6. And we begin with no changes here at the bottom. That is J Boops at 18, Finite at 17, and Just No Name at 16.
Yeah, the Miners able to pick up a win there against the Melonheads and Webb, but still just a tight little portion here of the rankings at 16, 17, and 18. The No Names are playing, I think, a full Xbox schedule going forward, so it'll be interesting to see how they all stack up against each other and the No Names in the mix going forward. And we'll see what happens with the Colts going forward this week. A quiet week 5 for them.
Up into 15, 14, and 13. B. Hagen stands pat there. A couple weeks ago did have that impressive upset win versus Ashnod. Certainly worth a mention. Webb falls down a spot, and it kind of swaps places with Flash there.
Yeah, these two swap in places. Flash has played a very, very strong strength of schedule, as you see, number 1 so far. Able to pick up one of his wins against GTM in week 5. Webb has had a really, really tough schedule going forward. Lost quite a few games when he was packing them in there, as you see. Looks like it was 1-7 there for the week for the Melonheads. So he needs to pick things up against players above 500 if he wants to put himself into that mix of players looking to get into the playoffs. And a quiet week, like you said, out of the Megafauna. We'll see what happens for B. Hagen here in week 6, as you know, a quiet 2 losses against the Birdies isn't going to do much for either way in the power rankings.
Going on up into the top 12 here. We have No Hummus holding pat. A small demotion for Doso, who swaps places with yourself here at 12, 11, and 10.
Yeah, not a lot of movement again here in the middle of the XBL. Like you said, a swap between myself and Doso. I think that goes either way, though. We both played pretty tough schedules. We both played everybody pretty tight. Doso, especially with those pitching numbers, has been really, really interesting to watch, and his offensive improvement is going to be great to see in these bigger games going forward for him. No Hummus has a lot of important games going forward. You can see that lower win percentage against players above 500. That's going to be really, really big to raise up for him if he wants to jump into the playoff picture, as he's a little bit behind on games at 9-13.
Moving on up into the top 10 at rank 9, myself falling a couple of spots. A promotion for Kekayula, who has probably been, not probably, has been the best Xbox player thus far here in Season 10. And Corruption's holding pat. Got some games in, still needs more though.
Yeah, we need to see more out of the Prowler at number 7, but a nice 4-0 week for him. And now he sits at 12-6. It's very, very interesting to see players coming out of the AAA and doing well in the XBL. That same goes to be said for Keck, who's come out of the AAA and really taken the XBL by storm here in the mid-season. It's reminiscent a little bit, I think, of the Megafauna of Season 9. So it'll be great to see how Keck does going towards the tournament. And I think that's really the only reason that your Self-Weaver falls down a little bit. As you see, the 3-1 week there. A few more games for you going forward, but already at 30 after a series today. So good luck going forward. It looks like a pretty solid ranking for the Crazies.
We'll take it, and we'll move on into the top 6, where we have Jam Paladin holding pat at 6, and then the reigning Rookie of the Year, Luke Archer, tied at 4 with GTM. And on this page here, between GTM and Jam, that is an interesting Rookie of the Year race to keep an eye on in these last 2 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this could be the closest Rookie of the Year race we've really had in a long time in the XBL. For both players to be as good as they currently are, too, is saying something. I think it really goes to show how good this top portion is once you get into the top 6, because you could put any of these 3 players in any order, and I wouldn't be surprised as things stands right now. The offensive stats from Jam are a little bit less than these other 2, but his pitching stats really, really make up for it, and these 2 have not really closed down on that end as well as he has. So it'll be interesting to see down the stretch run how these 3 players especially stack up.
That brings us to the top 3, and there's a player here that has improved significantly, and that is Ted Danson, moving up 2 spots into the top 3. And then, of course, the Birdies holding pat at 2, and Astronaut at rank 1, who needs to play catch-up here.
It's been efficiency all season for the Dragoons. Nicely done by Ted to break into the top 3, into the voters and the fans' hearts with just a great showing all season. The pitching numbers from the former Von Asen winner have actually been a little higher than expected, but he's just been outscoring a lot of his opponents and getting it done in a very, very clutch way. And as you said, number 1 and number 2 staying as they are. We'll see more out of Astronaut hopefully this week as he returns. And the Birdies have been doing their job, just putting teams away. A loss here and there at 25-3, not hurting them too bad, though. I think the offense is just so tough to stop from Beaky Bay.
Yeah, this is going to be an exciting race as we trickle towards those playoffs, and that's coming very soon. And speaking of playoffs, we can talk about the AAA playoff bracket now. We have the semifinals all set up after pool play. You can see the winner of Pool 1, Ben McNineteen, becomes the home team over on the other side of the bracket, where he plays Cougar, who won that side of the bracket. And then on the left bracket, it is Hikers and Porgs. I believe these were the top 4 in the regular season, so maybe no surprise that these are our final 4 in the AA.
Yeah, just a little bit of a correction there. It's shown in an order that's a bit confusing as the players are stacked in a way that's not consistent with their ranking. But we've got Hikers here first in this pool, so he's got the home field advantage against Porg from Pool 2, and then the Jackrabbits have the home field advantage against the Razorbacks. You can see they've already played a game, so Jackrabbits already out ahead. It'll be interesting to see how these semifinals end in a best of 5. The Razorbacks and the Jackrabbits, I believe, split in the regular season. They were not able, or they were not in the same pool, so that'll be very interesting to see how things go here. And the Hikers and Porgs will be starting, I think, later in the week. The Porgs offense has been something to behold in the AA. Every time those box scores come in, there's a ton of runs scored, so it'll be interesting to see how the Hikers, with their surprising offense as well in the AA, hold up.
And typically we do predictions for these sorts of things, especially when the brackets are set. So let's give it a shot. I've got the Hikers taking the left side of the bracket in 5 against the Porgs, and I've got Cougar sweeping.
Well, then I'm going to go ahead and go with Porgs in 5 on the left side, but I think that Cougar will also win on the right side. It'll have to be 4 games, though, to put away Ben. I think he'll have an offensive explosion for himself in there somewhere. 3-1.
All right. All right. So we'll check back in on those and see how we did next week. And that is your AA bracket. Now we are going to get into the top plays of the last 2 weeks. And because it is 2 weeks worth of plays, instead of 5 great plays, we have 8. And instead of 3 not so great plays, we have 5. So we will start with the best plays of the last 2 weeks. And coming in here at number 8 is Tam Danitz with his superstar. Who else but Cole Hudson?
Cole Hudson getting that over-the-shoulder grab, putting himself into the play of the week consideration as always. A little bit of stuttering there. I'm sorry about that. I'm always trying to solve these issues we get from some of these clips running at the same time. But let me attempt to get that cleaned up for you one more time so we can watch it. Over-the-shoulder grab at Apple Field, always impressive. Nicely done there from the softy center fielder.
Jim Edmonds style out there. Beautiful play from who else but Cole Hudson. And we'll bring it on into the next play, which comes from myself versus B. Hagen, 2 outs in the 9th inning, looking to shut it down. A very well hit ball, but a nice little dive there from my left fielder.
Yeah, nice little dive indeed. You had to time it well, and he looks like he slides about 2 or 3 feet on his chest to make that grab in foul territory. Things can get dangerous in Shaka, maybe if that bounces off his glove and hits fair or something. You never know what will happen when you get towards those corners. So nicely done to close down and end a ball game there, 2-1 nonetheless.
And so the next play we'd like to show for you comes from Apple Field, an Apple Field series. The Tackpeas leading the Melonheads by a couple, and with a big hitter at the plate as the tying run. Kekayula, the aforementioned torchbearer for the Xbox gang, if you will, makes an incredible play deep in left center field.
Yeah, we'll see as he sets up here, does a pitcher swap. I believe there's... first pitch from the reliever gets absolutely hammered. You think this has the legs to get out, but Keck just gets there to make the grab that would have tied the game for sure, I'd think.
Yeah, I think looking at the replay here on my second monitor, that's 100% a home run. Apple Field, some people call it cursed. If anything, that particular section of the field is the hardest to hit the home run. So understandable, of course. And we will get into the next play, which is similar to the play that is after that as well. A couple of walk-off grand slams. And I believe they were both on the same day. This one in the AAA from McDonough.
Yeah, huge from McDonough here to clutch up and get that walk-off grand slam. But like you said, 2 in the same day, as we have the next one coming up here from No Hummus against myself. So behold as he crushes that one, 99 power, right center field. I knew that was gone the moment he hit it.
Yeah, big stadium too. Lots of space out there in Sakura Hills. So a couple of grand slams there for the first part of our top plays of the week. And before we show you the top 3 plays of the week, we'll take a break here to show you the not top plays of the week. And these are not ranked in any particular order. So we'll get it started right away here with a play from Wolfie Lion. This ball is going to go down the right field line. This is a series versus Goldfinger. And when he picks it up, there's a missed throw, which is one thing, but that leads to an out of bounds call as it sails over foul territory, or well, of course it's foul territory, but over what do you call it, seats territory? It's bizarre.
It is absolutely bizarre. I don't know why the angle from the arm side toss on the outfielder, I don't know why it takes that angle. It's so strange. He has trouble picking it up to begin with over there, which is tough, and then he gets a little bit of a toss, a little bit of an errant toss, and there's just nothing you can do. 3 bases for everybody.
Trying to put a little spin on it or something, and it just results in a wacky play. And the next play we have here is between the No Names and the Tackpeas. Again, deepest part of the park. Keck thinks he's going to catch it all the way. No Name does not catch it. It goes off the wall, and No Name just cannot pick up the ball no matter how hard he tries.
Yeah, it looks like to me he's trying to throw it before he even has it. Tries to get that center fielder moving and tossing the ball in there, but he just misses it over his head, and then he can't pick it up. It's pretty funny to see him kind of spin around, but it's a tough way to give up a few extra bags.
Yeah, it seems like he thinks he's in range a few different times of getting it, and it just never happens. And that, like you said, leads to some bases that may not have happened otherwise. So that's certainly worthy of being on this list. And then the next play is from the same series. Either the game before it or the game after in the 2-game series. I told you before, I really don't know how. I can't fathom this play. I don't understand how it happened.
I think it's because, as you see, Keck lift the ball behind the bag. He holds his runner, and he doesn't send him back early enough to get there. And there's a bit of confusion, I think, between the base runners as the one freezes behind first base and gives Notre Dame enough time to just catch it and toss it over there. That's a very rare play. We've seen a couple clips of it happen before, but never in a official XBL game.
Yeah, so we'll move right along into this one. This one is painful in particular. It comes at the Mingata Bowl. It's a rip off the bat of Laid an Egg of the Beaky Bay Birdies, dropped by the second baseman. He should have plenty of time, right? Nope. He cannot pick it up after he drops it.
Yeah, that is so funky. Just tough for GTM. Trying to get, well, not like the fastest runner in the world in Laid an Egg either. Out at first base, the 8-hole hitter would have brought up the pitcher, or would have ended the inning. So tough for him to extend one there on it. Just the RNG not on his side.
Yeah, it looks like a 0.2 followed by another 0.2. So get your calculators out. That one definitely unlucky for GTM. And the final not top play of the last 2 weeks comes from myself. If you've seen my stream when I was streaming, you know I deal with things like this sometimes. I thought I had a homer here in this official game. It was a fly out to the shortstop.
Yeah, that one was particularly crushed too. It looked well timed and everything. Power 90 plus, and you see J-Boob's runners start to run inward as soon as the ball's hit, and that might be a clue for you as to what's going to happen next as the ball warps back at light speed to home or to center field for out number 1.
Yeah, a cruel little twist there. Luckily, didn't factor into the game at all. And we will transition back into the better plays, the actually good plays here of the last 2 weeks. At number 3, it is Corruptions versus No Hummus, a 1-run game, relatively late, 2 on. It's sent to the gap. Mr. Hagrid lays out and saves the game.
Yeah, this is a particularly nice catch in my opinion. As you see, Corruptions takes an interesting route to the ball and then has to dive kind of over his shoulder to get it. And that would surely have given Hummus the lead. So taking away 2 runs in a game he eventually wins. Big play.
Yeah, electric play there for Corruptions. We'll check it out one more time. It's a well-timed dive from Hagrid, who has the glove on the right hand, if I'm not mistaken. Sometimes that can factor in. That'll take us to the number 2 play of the last 2 weeks. And this one, on first glance, doesn't look like anything special. But it is, Dwayne, isn't it?
It is indeed. This home run, it gives Finite the all-time hit lead in XBL history. I believe 3,340 hits for him.
Correct.
As a total at that time.
Correct. Yes. Congratulations to Finite Provision. This was his 3,340th career hit to take the all-time lead, passing veteran player Alec A.D., who opted out of this season. I possibly indicated we'd see him again, but for now, the Miners, the all-time hits leader. So big congratulations there. And that takes us to the number 1 play of the week, and we're going back to defense here. And it's at the Motor Yard, the Prowlers with the winning run at the plate. It's anyone's guess whether or not that was going to get out or be off the wall, but in any case, an absolute game-saving catch from Partridge Peartree.
Yeah, this is a huge, huge play. A 3-run home run would have ended it for sure. And Florbell with the timing and like you said, maybe that glove side helping a little on the catch too. As Partridge reaches up and just snatches it away. That is an epic play as Corruptions had one stolen away from him.
Yeah, it's a clutch play. The 3 bars of pressure, not only in the in-game mechanic, but I mean anyone who's playing is going to feel quote unquote 3 bars of pressure in a situation like that. Just epic, as you said. So we felt that was worthy of the best play of the last 2 weeks. We'll have a new list for you in a week's time, assuming we get enough submissions. So please submit your highlights from your games this week into the XBL highlight reel. If you have bloopers you'd like to share, they can go into the XBL not highlight reel. And that is the end of the show for us tonight. I've been Weaver for Prez here with Dwayne, and we should have some more Match of the Week games for you next Sunday night. That's the next time this channel will go live. And with that, Dwayne, anything else we should add here?
Thank you, Weaver, for just putting it all together with me tonight, getting together another weekly roundup. I appreciate everybody who submitted clips. Just get those games in as we get down to the stretch run. The seeding, the playoff brackets are going to start shaping up. We should have some more playoff talk, hopefully for you next week, as more of those people start to catch up on games who need them. And we'll see how the outlook is for that next week on the weekly roundup. But yeah, thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for submitting. Reach your weekly minimums, and if you can't, just reach out to the league office and let us know. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great and pleasant evening.
Thank you, everyone.